question, you should be underlining the key words when you're writing an expression. Expressions don't have equal signs, and none of these multiple choice questions have it. So quotient, you have to know that vocabulary means to divide. 6 cubed means to the third power. You might want to put in here a helper that squared would be a number to the second power, just in case you see that. And the sum means to add a number and 12. So a number and 12, a number, it looks like they gave that the variable n, and 12. I need all of those things in order to make a choice here. If they're not all there, then I cannot circle it. Letter A is missing the division sign. B is missing the division sign. C and D have the division sign. They have 6 to the third power. But in C, this is the difference. So you do not choose choice C. That only leaves you option D. Okay, this question says, what is the volume of a cube that has a side length of 21 meters? Volume of a cube is s to the third power. You will be provided that on your test. This means it's s times s times s. So it's 21 times 21, not 21 times 3. This is testing your ability to recall how to solve exponents and also to apply a formula. Now I need to multiply that by another 21. $9,261, which is choice C. Next question. Which expression is equivalent to 15v minus 8 plus 10? This is combining like terms. 15v plus 10v gives you 25v, and you do nothing but keep the minus 8n. You cannot combine different variables. Those are called unlike terms. You can only combine the variables that are exactly the same. Pay attention to the signs. Sometimes you might be subtracting the variables that are alike. Okay, what is the value of f in the equation? This is an inverse. I should see work here. F and 16 are attached through addition. You're going to subtract. F equals 36 minus 16 is 20. Choice A. Okay, which equation best represents the relationship between x and y in the table? There's a couple different ways to look at this question. You can try to apply these formulas, as I call them, these equations, and plug in the x and y's and see if they work. Or you can figure it out based on how these numbers are going from x to y, x to y. But since this is a multiplication problem test, multiple choice problem on the test, I can just substitute the values of x and y and see if they work. I wouldn't use the first set of numbers because it might work for the very first set, but it has to work for every single pair of numbers. So for this it says, I'm going to just use the 2 and the 13. This says if I multiply 2 times the value of x, so 2 times 2, that equals 4. Is that what this was? No. No, that one doesn't work. Now let's try 3 times 2. That equals 6. Plus 1 gives me 7. Is that what I'm looking for? No, that one doesn't work. Let's try this one. 2 times 2, that equals 4, minus 1. That equals 3. Nope, not what I'm looking for. Do not assume that the last one works until you prove it. You could have done something mathematically wrong up above. Doesn't always mean the last one's the choice. What's 6 times 2? 12 plus 1? 13. That's the number I'm looking for. It is choice D. So that's probably about the easiest way to solve those tables, especially when it's multiple choice. Okay, this question is really, it doesn't require work, it requires common sense. They give you all this stuff about Sherry paying $147 for 7 video games. Each video game was the same price. Which equation represents the situation and the price of the video game? This last part refers to the last number here. How much are you going to pay for a video game? Would you pay $154? No. $140? No. $21? Yeah. And no one better be paying $1,029. Oh my God. Okay. Automatically, I see this. I should see the inverse. S and 6 are attached through addition. You're going to subtract. S is greater than 8. Okay, well that eliminates A because that number line starts at 6. It eliminates B, that starts at 6. I've got C and D as options. One's a closed circle, one's an open circle. Closed circles have those two symbols. Open circles have these two. Is it C or D? D. Next question. This is underlining keywords. Product means multiply. 9 and a number. Okay. A is not it. That's sum. Why don't you go ahead and write that sum? B is difference. C is quotient. D is product. Remember, multiplication signs are the only symbol I do not need when I am writing with a variable and a number sitting next to each other. Next question. What is the value of the expression when x equals 5 and y equals 3? This is an x, not a multiplication sign. So 2 times, I'm going to plug in these numbers. 5 times 3 minus 3 to the third power. This is an order of operations problem that was part of this entire unit. So no parentheses here. There are exponents. 3 to the third power is 3 times 3, which is 9, times 3, which is 27. Done with exponents, there is multiplication. 2 times 5 is 10. There's another multiplication problem. 10 times 3 is 30. Whoops, that's a minus sign. And 30 minus 27 gives me 3. Choice B. Okay. Next question. Which expression is equivalent to C times C times C? That is an exponent. Repeated multiplication is an exponent. If I had this, that is what that is. Repeated addition is multiplication. And these other ones, B and D, don't even make any sense. Okay, this one. Even after reading all of this, the key part right here, they already gave you the equation that you need to use inverse. This is a multiplication problem. You will solve it with division. 51 divided by 17 is 3. Choice A. All right, moving on. Kelly has 30 less than twice as many CDs as Art. We've got to create our equation here because then they say it's equal to 46. So 30 less than means subtract. Twice means 2 times as many. Problem is you have than. So that's going to switch this around. This is a 2-step equation. I need 2 inverses. Always start with the adding and subtracting. 2n is equal to 76. I'm not done yet. Next inverse. 2 and n are attached through multiplication. You need to divide to solve for n. 76 divided by 2, 38. And that is choice D. So that one you have to set up the equation. If they give you equations, it's a gift. Use them. Otherwise, sometimes you have to set them up. Okay, this one, inverse. 6 and x are attached to multiplication. We're going to divide both sides by 6. X is less than or equal to 5. Well, I don't see 5 there. The whole point of an inequality, and the reason why we have to graph it, is because there are so many answers to the problem. You just have to look over at the answers and say, which one of these numbers is less than or equal to 5? That's choice B. Okay, which expression is equivalent? This is outside, inside, outside, inside. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 times k. Don't forget, you have to also multiply the second number by what is outside, not just the first one. Okay, this one was written a little bit differently than what we're used to. That's what it really looks like, because I multiplied u times 1 and it becomes this. We're used to seeing them like this. This is where the 3 becomes the numerator. We cancel. U is equal to 99. Letter A. Next question. Text or underlining. Product means multiply. 9 and the sum is addition. Triple is 3 times a number and 6. So, this one eliminated because it has division. Nowhere up there did I read the word quotient or divided by. This one, again, is eliminated for the same reason. Now I have C and D, and I see a lot of subtraction signs in D, and I see no word difference or subtracted from, so D is eliminated as well because of the subtraction signs. Okay? Product means multiply. The reason I put this as a separate slide is because you saw product within other questions. You've got to know it means multiply. Sum means to add. Remember I told you sum has 3 letters? So does add. A little way to help you remember. Difference means to subtract. Quotient means to divide. Okay, evaluating this expression, you've got to substitute the values. So 5 times H minus 2 times W. Make sure if it's in parentheses to start with, you also are writing it in parentheses. Divided by 2 to the 3rd power. Now I can use my order of operations. Everything within the parentheses has to be solved first, and you have to also use the order of operations inside there. So 5 times 4 is 20. 2 times 2 is 4. You must solve all of that first before you can divide by 2 to the 3rd power. So 20 minus 4 is 16. 2 to the 3rd power is 8. Don't be trapped to think it's 6. And 16 divided by 8 is 2. Choice B. Okay, rewriting this using the distributive property. Outside, inside. 6 times 4 is 24. Plus 6 times m is 6m. That is choice C. This one gives you both parts to the equation. You're going to set them equal to each other. And then it is a 2-step equation. When you see 2 different operations in the problem, it takes 2 steps to solve it. Inverse, starting with adding and subtracting first. Make sure you borrow, guys. There's a lot of borrowing in 6th grade. Cannot take 5 from 0. Borrow. 10 minus 5 is 5. Cannot take 1 from 0. Borrow. 195. Yes, that's a choice over there, but I'm not done solving it. Don't be tricked just because you see that first part of the answer there. Don't select it if you're not done with the math. Now it's 195 divided by 3. 65 minutes, and that is choice D. Okay, this one. What is the value of y when x equals 10? So here's the equation. You're substituting in the value of what x is. 10 minus 7, 3. Okay, the x is always the independent variable. Choice B. And that's on a graph. So this is always the independent down here. So that's why it's talking about the x value. It's the x-axis. And that leaves the y as being the dependent variable. That's up here. How high your graph goes depends on what's happening with down here. So this is the y.